Hello and welcome back to our ID Big 50 Countdown. Today we present part 2 of the countdown, companies 30 through 11, before moving on to the top 10 tomorrow. A big thanks to our platinum sponsor BigCommerce for their support of the Big 50 list. If you haven't yet, please check out our first video where we reveal companies 50 through 31 on this year's list. Joining me today in the studio is ID editor Andy Zoll. We also have some great commentary from the industry throughout the video, so be sure to check out each part. We are ready to kick off with our number 30 company, Kimball Midwest of Columbus, Ohio. This industrial supplier continues to nab top workplace awards and has been ranked as one of the best places to sell for the 9th year running. At 29 is Decour et Cabot NA with $545 million, up $15 million in sales compared to last year's reporting. DNC announced 2 acquisitions in 2024 through its Canadian company, the Focotis Group. These include SDI Supplies, specializing in the distribution of top-quality hand tools, hardware, PPE, and industrial supplies, and located in Canada, as well as L&R Tool and Supply, a specialist in cutting tools and lubricants, based in Long Island, New York. DNC also added through its U.S. company Han Systems a wood construction business from Baker in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The company told us it would continue to look for both organic growth opportunities as well as through acquisition. And in addition, our web presence in the marketplace continues to expand our business growth. The number 28 company on this year's list is Singer Industrial with $595 million in sales. In 2024, Singer added Hoser Inc., Hostech USA, Met Brothers, and Fluid Tech Hydraulics, and also appointed a new president, Pete Haberbosch. The acquisitions have continued in 25 with the addition of Wilmington Rubber and Gasket in May. Singer told us priorities continue to be ongoing M&A at a steady pace, organic growth, marketing enhancements, and utilizing AI in business operations. Our number 27 company is Canadian distributor Wajax. Here's more from Andy Zoll on Wajax's 2024.
Toronto-based Wajax has long provided products to both Canada's industrial sector and to segments well beyond the traditional scope of this list, from construction and utilities to mining and forestry. For the purposes of this year's Big 50, Wajax officials posted revenues of $624 million across its industrial parts and engineered repair services segments. Although both those divisions saw sales decline year over year compared to record levels in 2023, the total number was still good enough to come in at number 27 on this year's rankings. Wajax officials conceded that the year had been a challenging one, citing competitive pressures, sliding demand, and business and economic uncertainty. Like many companies on this year's list, Wajax is feeling the effects of an unclear and rapidly shifting trade environment between the US and Canada. Despite an overall increase in Wajax's revenue in the first 2 quarters of the year, the company's industrial parts and engineered repair services segments continue to experience declines.
Number 26 on this year's list is Ewe Group of Companies of Ann Arbor, Michigan, with $632 million in 2024 sales. This commodity management supplier of abrasives, MRO, and measurement tools has added customers globally courtesy of its proprietary tooling management processes and state-of-the-art supplier and customer portals, giving them access to make strategic decisions on demand. Ewe also told us that AI has enhanced its capabilities, quote, to a great extent, to gain efficiencies at all levels. Halfway down the rankings, we find Optimus Solutions of Wooddale, Illinois at number 25. With $635 million in 2024 sales, Optimus has recently been focused on efforts to nearshore its operations in North America, including a new fastener plant in Monterrey, Mexico. CEO of Optimus Americas, Daniel Harms, told ID the following, quote, "Our financial performance reflects a balanced approach to navigating market conditions while maintaining strong customer relationships. Optimus remains focused on operational discipline, reliable supply chain management, and steady investment in service capabilities. These efforts have allowed us to support customer needs consistently, even as broader market dynamics shift." Harms added that the company's priorities rest on technology, supply chain resilience, and value-added services. The number 24 company on this year's list is EIS of Atlanta, Georgia, a supplier of electrical and industrial products as well as services such as inventory management, kitting, assembly, and technology solutions. According to EIS, key growth objectives include mergers and acquisitions to strengthen the portfolio offering. In 2024, this included the addition of Jerome Technologies, Inc., and EIS says there are 3 to 5 more in the pipeline. Taking the number 23 slot on this year's list is Blackhawk Industrial of Tulsa, Oklahoma. A longtime active acquirer, Blackhawk continues to remain on the hunt. For more on this company's latest activities is John Mark, Blackhawk's CEO.
Yeah, 2024 was certainly a tricky demand environment. Coming into the year, the first quarter was actually pretty reasonable, kind of in line with expectations. as we started to move into the second quarter, which is a ramp into a volume season, increased volume season. It didn't quite materialize like we thought it would. And then when you got into the month of June is when the market headwinds really started to prevail. And I would say we slowed down quite a bit. The entire industry felt that same, not just at Blackhawk, but in talking with many other distributors in our, call it informal networks. Everybody was feeling a similar set of headwinds relative to demand out there in the market. Yeah, the M&A environment is the environment itself has slowed substantially. I think relative to expectations that sellers may have, relative to what buyers may be willing to pay, and that's just some of the economic environment that's out there today. But it's still part of our strategy. There's still businesses that do come up. We take a look at those, and if we find one that is a good fit, and we can get to a valuation that makes sense for both of us, then we're willing to make that deal. So we still have a lot of, call it demand for, or at least within our strategy, a lot of open space and capabilities that we would like to acquire and grow. And so M&A is a big lever for us to accomplish that.
AFC Industries is the number 22 company on this year's list with $740 million in sales. Earlier this year, this provider of fasteners and Class C components introduced a new corporate tagline, always the first choice. Propelled by acquisitions, AFC completed 5 in 2024 and says it continues to be among the most active on the acquisition front. Companies like AFC continue to strike a path forward, but shifting winds have added some new variables to the equation when it comes to evaluating a good deal. We recently spoke with Justin Stile, partner and co-head of the North American transaction team for Middle Ground Capital, on what changes are taking place in terms of industry consolidation and how new variables may impact deal volume.
So there's obviously a lot of things going on in the market right now. It's certainly much more volatile in some ways than we expected. I think we all entered this year with the expectation of a smoother path, but I think early in the year with tariffs and other macro developments, all of the sudden people began to behave a little bit differently. And so I think we've obviously, as an industry, worked very hard to normalize following what we witnessed in the COVID-19 pandemic and the aftermath, and also the inflationary environment. And so this was supposed to be a very normal year, but I would say there hasn't been anything really normal about this year. So we see a bit of a barbelled situation where you are finding that today, relative to last year, relative to the year before, there are a lot of M&A opportunities that are coming out, but the quality isn't as high as what you might have seen last year. And so it might be a motivated seller or somebody that's held on to something very, very long. And those are kind of challenging stories with interest rates where they are and some macroeconomic uncertainty. On the other end of the barbell, what you're seeing is very high quality assets getting a lot of attention. And so particularly around quality distributors that have good market positions, that have shown resiliency and the opportunity for growth, you're seeing those get a lot of interest from both strategic buyers as well as financial buyers.
At number 21 is RS Group Americas, a Fort Worth-based company with a reported 830,000 stocked industrial products, with an emphasis on electrical as well as MRO, motors, pneumatics, and fluid power and tools. Getting into the top 20, we have Border States. Here to give us some more detail on this distributor is Andy Zoll.
It's been a particularly busy couple of years for Border States, the North Dakota-based distributor that clocks in at number 20, up 2 spots from last year's Big 50 list. That means, like many other Big 50 companies, expansion. New branches in North Carolina and Texas, an expanded location in Wisconsin, and a new facility in northern Minnesota, as well as the acquisition of Dominion Electric Supply and its 9 branches in the Mid-Atlantic. But perhaps the more noteworthy changes at the employee-owned company were strategic. New CEO Jason Seeger took over for the retiring David White. It turned an early 2024 acquisition into a new engineering services division, and it announced an entirely new operating model, one that would begin relying on distribution centers to bolster its network of more than 130 locations. The company broke ground on the first of its distribution centers, located in its home of Fargo, this spring. It will serve nearly 30 branches across 6 states when it opens late next year.
Number 19 on this year's list is BDI, ushering us into the billion-dollar companies. According to BDI, continued investments in its BDI supply technologies are delivering customer cost savings and productivity improvements from its customer-facing strong branch teams. According to CEO Carl James, this includes using the BDI science of selling tools to capture new customers and new product sales with existing and new customers, and using BDI productivity pipeline and supply technologies to deliver cost and productivity savings and solutions replication for delivered return on total customer service. The company also says it is focused on continued measured improvement in customer fulfillment cycle time. At number 18, we have Global Industrial Company with $1.3 billion in sales, a measurable increase compared to the company standing 2 years ago when it reported $935 million in sales for our ranking. Global added a new CEO, Anissa Chaibi, in February of 2025. Chaibi told us that Global Industrial has an outstanding foundation for growth, with an exceptional platform and the ability to scale the business organically. Quote, "We have an opportunity to broaden who we serve, expand existing account relationships, and accelerate our growth initiatives." DXP Enterprises is our number 17 company with around $1.8 billion in annual sales, up from $1.68 billion in fiscal 2023. DXP said 2024 was the most profitable year in its company's history. Houston-based DXP closed out 2024 by acquiring manufacturers' rep firms in Nebraska and California, and kicked off 2025 with the February purchase of Florida pump and process equipment distributor Arroyo, followed in June by the acquisition of Moore's Pump and Services, a Louisiana distributor of pumps and rotating equipment. Next on the list is Distribution Solutions Group at number 16. Just a tick higher than DXP with $1.804 billion. When our list last published, DSG was fresh off its acquisition of Source Atlantic and about a year into its integration of the 2023 purchase of former Big 50 distributor Hisco. The Fort Worth, Texas-based company, the parent of MRO distributor Lawson Products, as well as Test Equity and Gexpro Services, noted last year that acquisitions were helping to overcome some light declines in organic sales. With 2024 sales up nearly 15%, we continue to see DSG beat back the sluggishness the company described as expected. Distribution Solutions Group announced this summer that former Global Industrial CEO Barry Litwin would take over the company's Test Equity segment in mid-July. At number 15 on this year's list, we find Ferguson Industrial at $1.9 billion. When Ferguson closed out the year, its leaders noted the company anticipated an ongoing, challenging near-term market environment, but said the company would continue to invest in scale and capabilities to take advantage of multi-year structural tailwinds. Ferguson Corporate acquired 10 companies in 2024 fiscal and recently disclosed its 4 most recent pickups, including Manufactured Duct and Supply Company, Water Resources, Inc., HPS Specialties, and Ritchie Environmental Solutions. The number 14 company with $2.1 billion in annual sales is Graybar. Graybar pulled former Big 50 lister Valen Corporation from our ranking by acquiring the San Jose company in 2023. Last fall, Valen president Ann Varanachik told us that Graybar was the ideal parent for Valen and allowing the company to do what we do best. As for Graybar, the company is no longer synonymous with electrical product categories alone and has made a concerted effort over the past few years to develop a strong industrial footprint. The company told ID, quote, "As Graybar considers its future growth opportunities, the industrial market and supporting industrial customers are a key piece of our strategic plan. Graybar continues to expand our industrial automation product offering while also strengthening relationships with OEMs, machine builders, systems integrators, and end users. Also, we continue to develop value-added service capabilities geared toward the specific needs of industrial customers." In support of this so far in 2025, Graybar's Valen acquired Burns Control Company in Dallas. Graybar subsidiary Advantage Industrial Automation also acquired Orbit Motion Systems. Graybar says it continues to broaden its reach and deepen its industrial offer through acquisitions and expansion of its product offering, capabilities, and service platform. Improving capabilities is a key requirement for many distributors who are still challenged by talent gaps. And while some companies are focused on seemingly more urgent priorities, such as the fluctuating tariff environment, Bharani Nagarathman of Texas A&M's Master of Industrial Distribution program recently spoke with us about the negative impacts that could come from deprioritizing recruiting and retention.
While we are working through these challenges, and these challenges will pass, everyone is focused on growth. I would argue that your growth hinges on your talent, right? You can have a great ideas, great strategies, ideas are a commodity and strategies are a plan on a paper. You need people to execute your strategies, right? You see in the industry, customers are expecting more. A lot of distributors are beginning to offer a value-added services, beginning to offer things like rental, even take on some light manufacturing assembly work. All of that is talent-intensive work. So if you want to grow, you got to have the right talent. I have the opportunity to travel in the summer and meet with distributors. Many of them want to grow organically, open 3-5 new locations, but don't have the branch manager, a bench strength to be able to open those new locations. I mean, think about it. Capital is not a problem. Trying to find a real estate or to move products, to get suppliers is not a challenge. If you have a great business plan, suppliers are willing to partner with you. It all hinges on people, both the ability to recruit, but also the ability to retain. Retention is a challenge. The Bureau of Labor Statistics retention numbers for the whole country is quite low, under 5 years. And for young people, it's under 3 years. So it's not only important that you become a talent magnet, but also you retain a top talent if you want to continue to grow and meet your strategic goals.
DNOW is our number 13 company. Here's Andy Zoll for more on this Houston-based distributor.
The distributor spun out of National Oilwell Varco a decade earlier, began the 2024 calendar year as Distribution Now, but announced before the first month was out that it would shorten its name to just DNOW. The company's sales numbers slid to start the year, but shifted to growth over the remainder of 2024, including better than expected results in the final quarter. DNOW also acquired Louisiana oilfield supplier Whitco Supply in early 2024, and Texas pump, hose, and automation provider Trojan Rentals later in the year. The Houston-based company also wrapped up an $80 million stock repurchase program at the end of the year, then authorized another one that doubled that amount. CEO David Cherashinsky said that the new program would in part complement its acquisition focus. 6 months later, the company would announce an agreement to merge with a fellow Houston and energy industrial product distributor, in what will certainly be one of the year's top M&A deals.
Number 12 on this year's ID Big 50 list is FW Web with $2.38 billion in 2024 sales, a steady increase of about 5% over the prior year. According to FW Web's COO Bob Mucciarone, quote, many of our initiatives continued to pay dividends in 2024. These included partnerships with new vendors, expanding our breadth of new products, and most importantly, the expansion of facilities and entry into new territories. Filling in territories we felt were not covered has been critical to our growth. Mucciarone added that the company also continues to seek out and invest in new product initiatives such as water filtration products, changes that have resulted from the shift to electrification, and now the impact of a shift back to more traditional forms of energy. Mucciarone says the impacts on the heating and HVAC disciplines will be enormous, and the ability to navigate both will be essential to the company's success. The last company we're highlighting in part 2 of our countdown is number 11, MRC Global. MRC made some big headlines this year when it was announced that it would be acquired by fellow Big 50 distributor and number 13 on our list, DNOW, in an all-stock transaction valued at approximately $1.5 billion. Circling back on the fiscal year leading up to this mammoth deal, MRC posted sales just north of $3 billion, a decline the company last year pinned on slowing U.S. oilfield activity. And while the past 2 years were characterized by such downbeat earnings reports, CEO Rob Saltiel projected confidence moving forward. In early 2025, he contended that MRC had strengthened its balance sheet, bolstered its cash generation, and improved profitability, but that, quote, the time is right for the proposed tie-up. As we reported this year, a combined company would have an estimated enterprise value of $3 billion and account for $5.3 billion in combined revenues over the 12-month window ending in March. And its footprint would span 350 distribution and service locations. That wraps up our second segment. We appreciate you joining us and hope you'll be back for the top 10. Thanks again to our sponsors, particularly our platinum sponsor, BigCommerce. Congratulations to all the companies we've mentioned so far, and we'll see you soon for the exciting conclusion to our countdown.